The ungodly slow 240D, or is it? So Doug Antelman, who's been giving me a real run for my money, commented in her 5 best values in a classic Mercedes, which, by the way, seems to be a really hot topic for a lot of you. A lot of people are still watching that video. So if you've watched it, I appreciate it. I've been given a lot of beef from some of the subscribers over my choice of cars, but the particular one that I thought was really funny was when Doug left this comment that said, oh, the 240D is such an ungodly slow car. Now, anybody who knows me well knows that I love the 240D. The 240D, in my opinion, is not an ungodly slow car. It is the pinnacle of Mercedes Benz reliability and functionality and engineering. And a lot of people seem to think that the 300D turbo is not much more money than a 240D. Well, you know, it's not much more, but we're looking for the best value here. And one of the things that I love about the 240D is the freaking cars are just so simple. No automatic climate control, manual windows, most of them didn't have a sunroof. You didn't have an extra cylinder to worry about, 2 fewer valves to adjust, less oil to put in the car during the oil change, and still better fuel economy than a 300D turbo, even if the top end isn't necessarily there. Now, why do I love the 240D so much? Well, part of it is because you just can't, I'm not saying you can't kill the things, you can kill the things, but they just have like 9 lives. You know, I've seen 240Ds that have been sitting for 20 years. I'll put a battery in the things and make sure all the fluids are up, and they'll usually start and run. I've had these cars come towed into my shop with locked up engines and or low compression, and I'll do a valve adjustment and change the oil and get the motor to turn again, and then they start up like nothing happened. And I don't know what it is about the 240, but it's just, you know, speed really isn't everything. But in case you think that the 240D is extremely slow, let's look at a couple of figures. First of all, Mercedes sold the crap out of the 180D, 190D, 200D, and 220D, all of which were slower than the 240. These were still good cars, and you could probably drive one of them today if you don't live in a real high traffic area. So Mercedes already had sales success with slower cars. Next, the 240D still has the ability to cruise at 70 to 75 miles an hour, which is fine. And it still has the ability to top out at around 85 miles per hour or better. In fact, what a lot of you don't know is that the first generation of 240Ds with the 616.916 engine used in the W115 had a red line of 5,400 RPM. If you had a really good 240D, it would actually break 100 miles an hour. Now, I've heard reports of this and I haven't experienced it, but it has happened before. Based on what some reliable sources have told me. But the cars will actually do 80 miles an hour or so if you don't mind pushing them a little harder. Now, in my estimation, there are a lot of people on this channel who actually do own 240Ds. I think of Kermit the Frog, and I think of, let's see here, I have a couple other subs. Jonathan Sones, if Jonathan still has his 240D, you should probably speak up too. But the cars actually, even the automatics are not that slow. What happens is people set up the vacuum controls for the automatic wrong, and so they don't accelerate well through the gears and stay in their power band. They end up shifting before they actually make power. So that becomes a real problem with them. But even the automatics aren't that bad. I'd love to hear from some of you 240D owners so that you can explain to Doug why he's wrong, and that the definition of an ungodly slow car would be a Subaru 360, a Trabant, a Volkswagen Rabbit diesel, maybe, I don't know, a Chevy pickup with a 6.2 diesel in it. I mean, those are all cars that I would consider probably too slow to drive. But a 240D, No, we have plenty of customers who drive them. I've driven them on long trips. They're perfectly comfortable. I would drive one again for the rest of my life if I had to, even if it was like a 78 automatic with air conditioning. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video and you love your 4-cylinder diesels, please chime in the comments below and let Doug know that he is wrong. And in the meantime, if you're new to this channel and you love Mercedes diesels, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you have not considered supporting us in Patreon, please do so, because we will always be there to help you if you're there supporting us. We definitely get back to our Patreon subscribers within 1 day, and we help them until their problem is resolved. So in the meantime, enjoy driving your Mercedes Benz, even if it's a 240D, because there's nothing wrong with having a slow car.